Hello everybody and welcome back to another new vlog. I hope you can see what I'm looking at just over my shoulder, just here. It is, we are well and truly into autumn now, and the leaves on the trees are really turning some amazing colours, and this is a great example of one just behind me. I was walking up the path just along here. I was walking from this direction, and as I walked up along this path here, I could see this shock of kind of orangey golden colour right in front of me. So I've had to step off the path and try and find a composition to capture that, because obviously that's the perfect image really. Loads and loads of vibrant colour within that one tree, but then the trees all around it and all of the foliage all around it is all still a little bit green and dark and really not all that nice. But that tree there is absolutely brilliant compared to the rest of them. So I've taken that shot now. I have actually taken a landscape and a portrait shot of it, so I'm going to have a look at those when I get back home and see which of those I prefer. So hopefully you like this image. I've made it back to this bridge that I was standing on a few weeks ago, or standing next to a few weeks ago, trying to decide which side of the bridge I wanted to capture a photograph from. But I'm actually standing right in the centre of the bridge now, and I'm looking along the brook here just in front of me, and as you can see there's a tree which is lying across the brook, and right in the middle of it there's a branch that sticks right straight up. And just in front of that I've got this kind of piney detritus, this leafy mess that's fallen from the trees. And then on the other side, just here, there's a bit of fern action going on. And those ferns are still bright green, and they haven't changed colour. That's because they're right deep in the woodland and no light gets to them. Or should I say, the autumn elements don't get to them quite as much or quite as quickly. So for now, those ferns on the left hand side of the image are still a very bright green, and everything else has turned a golden brown, as you can see. I've decided to capture that shot, so I hope you like that image now. It is going to be a focus stacked image because I want the focus to be on this area here, and then the tree further back, and also on those green ferns just there. So I'm taking 3 shots and then I'm going to combine them together in post-production afterwards. Hope you like this image. You'll probably notice the sky's gone very dark behind me just here. I don't know if you can really tell properly on this, but the opposite direction, going over in that direction, is blue sky. So I don't know whether I'm going to get wet or whether I'll stay dry or not. But behind me, just over my shoulder towards where that dark grey cloud is, I've spotted another composition. I'm not really sure whether it works or not. You'll notice some kind of heathland behind me, which is obviously all turned brown. No more purple left in that now. But instead what it's left is a legacy of some dark browns and some yellows in the trees and some greens in the trees as well. Lots of different layers of colour and texture, and there's also this tree here in the scene as well. So I've captured a couple of shots here. I've got a panorama. I'm not sure whether that's going to work properly as a panorama, but I've also shot a landscape shot at 17mm, because I think this works quite well. But I won't know for sure until I get it home and have a proper look on the larger screen on my laptop. I'm going to make a move. Hope you like this image, by the way. I'm going to make a move and see if I can find anything else. So autumn seems to have arrived a little bit later than normal this year. I don't know why that is, but you'll hear all landscape photographers talking about that around here at the moment. Just behind me is a great example of why us landscape photographers love autumn so much. Just check out the colours of all of these fallen leaves on the ground against the colours of the still green leaves on the trees higher up. It's quite an interesting shot, and I was here about 2 months ago trying to shoot this, and it was totally different. I was trying to capture a shot of this path behind me, which just runs down here. I've walked up it myself, and like I say, it's probably about the 3rd or 4th time I've actually been up this path. But what I noticed as I was taking the shot, I was set up ready to take a portrait shot, because I wanted to use these trees either side of the path as framework for the image. So by turning it into a portrait, it meant I'd got an image that was taller than it was wider, which was perfect because of those trees. Those trees are very tall, and like I say, they created that perfect framework. But while I was stood there taking the shot, what I noticed was a little further along the path, just about here, there's a little area which goes very dark as you go into further into the woodland, and just in front of that there was some leaves that were overhanging from a tree right over the path. I don't know if you can really make them out just there, those leaves there, just where my finger is. They're very yellow and golden, and against that backdrop of that darkness at the end of the path, they look quite nice. But also, as I stood here, a shaft of sunlight came through the trees from above and just lit those leaves up perfectly. So I decided to get the long lens out as well, 70 to 300mm lens, and I've shot that at about 100mm, and again I've shot those leaves because I thought they were the perfect thing to shoot, just as they were lit up nice and brightly. By zooming in, what I've managed to do is capture just those leaves with a little bit of this leafy woodland floor leading towards them, and again the 2 trees right on the very edge just here I've managed to put at the edge of the frame. But also then I've got a little bit of the root system from the trees actually leading from the trees themselves towards that little spot where the leaves are all lit up, and it looks like a lovely picture. I won't know, of course, until I get back home and look at it on the computer properly, but I think that's going to be a winner today. And by the way, that's a good example of why you should always make sure you are looking around for compositions. Don't just take the first thing that you see. Always try and make sure there's nothing else that's worth taking a photograph within that scene. So I had to come here and capture this image. It's probably going to be the last shot of the day. The little bridge behind me, I've focused on that bridge from where I'm stood right now, and I've got the water coming out through from underneath the bridge along this brook behind me. Shooting this with a 1 second exposure because I want to blur some of the movement of that water to give it that slightly streaky effect, so it looks kind of cool in the image. But also I'm having to shoot with an aperture of f/22, which gives me quite a large depth of field anyway, so I'm quite happy about that. It means I can focus on the bridge itself, but also as you move forward along this little bit of the brook here, you've still got quite a lot of the image in focus, so some of that streaky water will be in focus as well still. ISO 100, and as I say, aperture of f/16 and 1 second exposure. I hope you like that image. That's going to be my last image of the day. Before I go, I just want to make one last little point. I've mentioned it on a few videos before, and I think it's kind of important to remind myself of this every now and then. It's always worth going back to the same locations that you've been to before, as I've been doing today, and capturing photos of exactly the same spots, the same locations. And I think it's important to do that because as we go through the year, the seasons change, and so the light changes, and the landscape changes completely, and we get lots of very different images from exactly the same spot every time we go out. So it's always worth doing that because you never know whether you're going to get something really special or not. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on another video very soon. Bye for now.